Ladies and gentlemen, we
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We just came out of a closed session and now we go into open session. And we always start out with item number 3, general matters. And we start out first with our land acknowledgement and mission statement. So I'll have the Vice President read out the land acknowledgement statement. Vice President.
Thank you. We acknowledge that the Franklin-McKinley School District and our schools are located in the Muwekma Nation, the sovereign nation and original people of the skies, land, and waters where we learn and work. The Muwekma people are the stewards of these lands and of the teaching and learning that comes from and responds to the needs of the land and the people who share it. May our daily lives and work, learning, teaching, and community engagement support the evolving vision of the Muwekma for their community and these lands.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And now I'll go ahead and read out our mission statement for our district. The Franklin-McKinley School District will ensure all 8th grade student graduates have the skills and knowledge to be ready for a college preparatory curriculum in high school. They all will have the ability to pursue a program preparing them for university and or careers and lifelong learning. And now we go to item 3.02, which is our flag salute. Today, we're very privileged and honored to have Meadows students lead us in the flag salute. And thank you, Principal Magdalena Moore, for bringing the kids here. So I'll turn it over to the students at this time. Thank you once more.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand and remove your hats for the presentation of the colors? Colored guard advance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. We begin. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prepare to post the colors. Post the colors. Colored guard dismissed. My name is Mariel. I'm from Meadows. Dad.
Aaron Mejia Soria, here with my parents, siblings.
Hi, my name is Fernanda, and I'm from Meadows, and I'm here with my parents and my brother.
My name is Jesus, and family and sisters. Hi, my name is Andres, and I'm from Meadows, and I'm here with my dad and my little brother.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I'm from Meadows, and I'm here with my dad. You may be seated.
Let's give the kids another big round of applause. Students from Meadows Elementary School. And thank you, Principal Magdalena Moore, once more for bringing the kids. Well, that's certainly a wonderful way to start our meeting this evening. Again, thank you very much, Meadows and Principal Moore, for bringing the kids this evening. Now we go on to item 3.03 to approve, disapprove additions to the agenda. If none, we'll go down to item 3.04 to approve, disapprove, or to approve, disapprove order of the agenda. If none, we go down to item 3.05, report of action taken in closed session. We turn that over to our superintendent for report out on closed session.
Thank you, Board President. The board unanimously approved the closed session minutes of September 23rd, 2025. There's no other action to report.
Thank you, Superintendent. Now we go on to item number 5. Now, item number 5 deals with oral communications. Members of the public may address the board on any issue within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board or agenda items. Members of the public may also address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with Board Bylaws 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. The board president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comment depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. No action can be taken on any agenda items at this time. Questions may be referred to the administration or put on a future agenda. Under 4.01, we have oral communications. Okay, so we have none at this time. Let's go into item number 5. Number 5 deals with information, discussion, and or action items, and we go to item 5.01, the receipt of the 7-Eleven District Advisory Committee report on findings and recommendations. So I'll turn it over to Jason, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. As Samara works on pulling up the presentation, just wanted to briefly summarize why we're here. On February 25th, 2025, the board took action to close 3 elementary school sites at the end of fiscal year 24-25, Los Arboles, Bramblewood, and McKinley. On June 10th, 2025, the board adopted a resolution 2025-40 to establish a surplus property district advisory committee, commonly known as the 7-11 committee, because you have to have at least 7, but no more than 11 committee members. The committee was tasked with reviewing and assessing identified property, conducting at least 1 public hearing to gather community input, and developing a report with findings and recommendations for the board. That's what's attached to the board agenda for tonight. The committee held 3 public hearings on August 20th, September 3rd, and September 17th. All meetings followed the Brown Act and included an opportunity for public comment. The committee reviewed data from the district staff and examined results of a community survey. The results of this process was the 7-11 committee pulling together a report, which is presented tonight to the board, with findings and recommendations. With that being said, I wanted to say a huge thank you to all the committee members who participated in the 7-11 committee. The huge commitment, a lot of work, a lot of discussion, a lot of thoughtful recommendations that came from the committee, and they were all unpaid. We were able to provide some nourishment during the meetings, but they were all volunteering to take on this task. So I want to give them a huge thank you for all the committee members that participated in this program. I also want to say thank you to Harold and his team that helped as professional consultants for the 7-11 committee process, help us lead us through this very complicated process for our committee members. And he is here tonight to start off the presentation to summarize what has happened, in addition to what I've already told you via the board agenda item. And then we will have our chair and vice chair also provide additional comments on the presentation tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Harold to provide information.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here. We're just going to give you a brief overview of how we got to the report that was submitted to the board, and that forms part of the agenda tonight. It was my pleasure to facilitate this 7-Eleven committee. Thank you, Jason, for pointing out why it's called a 7-Eleven committee. Pretty sophisticated reason. And I also wanted to thank the committee members. We had some really good dialogue, some good questions, good requests for data, and I'm going to review just a little bit of that and then turn it over to the committee chair and vice chair to talk you through what their findings were and their recommendations were. So our presenters tonight, you'll be hearing from Gilbert and Ashley, our chair and vice chair, shortly. I'm going to give you a brief overview again of how we got there. We have the names of all of the committee members listed up on the screen, and you'll see for each of them we've identified, are they a parent, are they a teacher? The reason for that is the education code requires that for a surplus advisory committee, surplus property advisory committee, you have to fill certain categories. And this list basically shows you how those different categories are filled for items such as somebody who's familiar with land use, a parent, a teacher, an administrator, a representative of the business community, certain other categories. So you heard from Jason that we had 3 meetings. Indeed, we did. The initial meeting was really to introduce the process, explain a little bit about the 7-Eleven committee, what it does, and also do a very brief Brown Act training because this was a Brown Act body. So to make sure that the committee understood their meetings would be public, there'd be public comment allowed, and that discussion of the committee's business really had to take place in the room, very much like what we have for the school board. We also went through, as you'll see, some certain district data points just to give you an idea of some of what was covered. The district properties were reviewed, and by that I mean all of the sites in the district, not just the 3 closed school sites. There was an overview of the 3 closed school sites. There was enrollment and demographic projections included, a discussion about capacity and utilization rates. We talk about utilization rates, it's basically the percentage of the capacity of the school that is being used. We looked at attendance boundaries, and we talked about current and planned facilities improvements. And that was really the bulk of that first meeting. The second meeting on September the 3rd was really to come back and answer questions that the committee had and requests from data for the first meeting. So some of the data that was reviewed, again, at the request of the committee, included reviewing the zoning of the 3 closed school sites. We discussed the wait list numbers for the dual immersion programs in the district. We talked about school-age children, basically looking at some of the demographics around that and where students are attending other than district schools currently, private schools, charter schools, or going out of the district. We discussed parties who had expressed interest in the properties. We talked about the market value very broadly of the properties. And then we had pictures both that showed an overview of where each of the 3 closed school sites was located. So you could see it in perspective of where the roads were, where the freeways were, local parks, and then also some close-up pictures, basically a pictorial walkthrough of each edition of the school and the layout of the school. And ultimately what that led to was our final meeting on September 17th when the committee adopted the report that they submitted to you. We had an opportunity to spend time with the committee for them to give input, make changes, which they did, and additions to the draft report that was included in their agenda. And ultimately, the committee adopted the committee report unanimously. We had 7 members there that night. It was unanimous of the 7. I don't know that for any of the meetings we had the entirety of the committee there, working people, families, et cetera, but we always had a quorum. And the last bullet you'll see up there is, again, all of the meetings complied with the Brown Act. So there was an opportunity for public comment. I believe all of the meetings were attended by members of the public, although we did not get extensive public comments. There was an opportunity for that as well. So essentially, there was a public hearing at each meeting. There was an opportunity for that public input. The properties that the committee focused on were the three closed school sites that you see listed there, Los Arboles, Ramblewood, and McKinley, which were discussed at great length during the meetings. And the committee considered a number of different factors. You heard about some of them, but again, just to review, they looked at enrollment and demographic projections. That is required by law. Again, the capacity and utilization rates of the schools. They looked at the location of the schools, the condition of the schools. They looked at the surrounding communities. And one of the things they talked about at some length was sale versus lease as a different possibility. And ultimately, the goal was to make a determination. Does the committee recommend that those three school sites, any or all of them, are surplus to the district's needs? And surplus is defined pretty straightforwardly in the education code as the sites no longer being actively needed for district use or school use. So with that, I am going to turn it over to the chair, Gilbert Broyo, to take you through some of the specifics of what the committee concluded.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, trustees. I'm really excited to be here and grateful to be here. I'm a proud alumni of Santee, Bridges Academy, and Yerba Buena High School as well. I got to serve as the chair of the committee alongside Ashley Ferreira. And some of the potential issues we discussed consisted of community programs, early childhood development, and non-public schools, and more, as you can see. Next slide, please. Okay. Part one of our committee findings and recommendation, the committee finds that the properties, once again, of Los Arboles, Ramblewood, McKinley are surplus to the district needs. And the committee recommends that the board declares the properties as surplus for the educational needs of the district and the community, and that the board pursue leasing the properties. Part two of the committee's recommendation, we recommend that we prioritize leasing to business and entities that provide the following services in order of preference from 1 to 7, 1 being the top choice. Number 1 being community serving programs that will support our community, such as sports programs, dance classes, and art programs. Number 2, early childhood development for our younger students and non-public schools, to coexist in one campus. Number 3, subsidized childcare / daycare. Number 4, technical school / adult education or career development. Number 5, community college or university extension courses. Number 6, workforce housing purposes and or venture capital or startups. Part 3 of the community committee findings and recommendation, the community makes the following recommendation to consolidation of charter schools to one campus if feasible. Committee finding and recommendations also recommends that these following are avoided. Number 1, sale of properties. Number 2, leasing properties to affordable housing, leasing to private schools, and leasing to charter schools. I'll pass it over to the Vice Chair, Ashley Ferreira.
Thank you, Gilbert. We spent a lot of time discussing the priority of what we wanted to see best serve the community. And so that's why they're stated in the order. We did not have a great deal of community comment at the meetings. However, we did look at the survey results that were sent out to residents of the district, and everything that we agreed on aligned with what the community had said. And as a committee, we all came to a consensus there. There was no real agreement on our recommendations. And this is the website where you can see all the agenda's presentations in minutes. Thank you so much for allowing us to present this to you. And do you have any questions?
Well, thank you very much for all that vital information that you presented to us. And let me ask the board members if they have any questions at this time. Board members, Board Member Rodriguez.
Okay, first of all, Ashley and Gilbert, I want to thank you personally for your involvement. And I've seen both of you in the community, and I appreciate you serving on the committee and taking the time, especially with the little one you have. During those committee meetings, I'm sure he was a great input as well. One question, I did ask the superintendent this question ahead of time, and he did answer it, but I would like to hear more from you. Is I noticed in one of the meeting minutes, it mentioned something about town halls. Did you guys think of recommending that the board or maybe the district should hold more town halls to get additional community feedback?
It was mentioned multiple times, but I think one of the things that we also recommended after the town hall was one of the
that there hadn't been a great response to the surveys and the accessibility. It just wasn't approaching the community. So perhaps having a town hall and looking at the ways that we approach the community for their input
Yeah, well, I understand that the survey, there were only 108 respondents out of the entire district. And part of the reason was, I know part of the reason was due to time. And the other part of the reason it was sent through Parent Square, which is only sent to those associated with the school campus rather than the entire community, because I'm sure there are neighbors who don't have children in school that would have liked to give input on building in their neighborhood. So I'm thinking that maybe, I'm wondering if you guys had any discussion on getting more input from outside school parents and school stakeholder, and getting more feedback from general community by having some town halls. And would you recommend that to the board?
Yes, that was our general consensus, whether it be a town hall or more of a presence at various community events, so that the district as a whole was more active and present in the community. I think also the surveys in my limited interaction with other parents, well, my daughter is at, all the parents were very interested. However, they didn't fill out the survey, and I don't know if it's because they didn't understand what was being asked or why they should fill it out, but they are all very curious about what the properties will be used for.
Okay. And then I have one other question, and that will be it. On part 3 of your committee, that's on page 10 of the report, on part 3 of the committee findings and recommendations, it made the general recommendation that the consolidation of existing charter schools to one campus, if feasible. Did you all have a lot of discussion on that, or was it just somebody just brought it up and said, yeah, maybe we might want to move all 3 or whatever number of charter schools we have onto one campus?
It was brought up in passing. I will say I was the one that wanted it in this recommendation. However, there were no disagreements with it. We did discuss it, not extensively, but it was brought up at all 3 meetings.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it up. That's all.
Board Member Cooper.
Yes, thank you. And I'm gonna follow up on that because that was actually one of my questions about the mentioning of potentially consolidating the charter schools into one location, one site. And I think you started to answer that. Have you had any communications at all with the charter schools and get feedback from them on this idea? Or is this like you're just been mentioned and just considered?
Yeah, the committee is not charged with actually engaging the community in that way. The committee was simply looking at recommending to the board the different ways that the facilities could be used.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then the next question was, I believe the gentleman that gave the introduction said that, maybe I missed it. I thought I heard that in the very beginning, you were looking at all the surplus properties and then you narrowed it down to look at just these three. how did we come up with that decision to not consider everything and just look at these 3 sites?
So
I
Harold,
think I just wanted to clarify what Harold was saying is that we look at all the school properties just to get an overview of what's at the school site, but ultimately focused on the 3 schools that were closed as properties that could be potentially surplus based on the demographic information and the utilization rates and other various data points that were provided to the committee. But Harold, if I'm misspeaking what you said, feel free to add more context.
Add to my recollection, that was the board's direction to the committee, was to focus on those 3 closed sites. So exactly as Jason said, the overview is really just to look at context, what other schools are there, what acreage is there, because one of the things the committee does is consider, do you have enough capacity district-wide to allow you, for example, to sell or lease a site? So we had to look at the overview of the entire school district.
Right, thank you. And that was, imagine other people are going to have the same kind of, why did you just look at those sites? So I wanted that for clarification. Thank you.
I will state, based on your previous question, there was discussion in the meetings about what the feedback we had received and unofficially from other parents and staff and experiences, and a few different people had input. But it was not charter school members, it was parents or staff of children that attended our public schools or non-charter schools, and it was their desire.
I would also add that we did mention the topic of town halls, but given the turnaround with the 7-Eleven committee and the timeline with the board, we figured that a town hall wouldn't be a short timeline. But we did think through about presenting more on our social media pages, such as Facebook, Instagram, and more than just.
Board members on this side? Even?
You guys want to thank the 7-Eleven committee again for all the work that you did. I attended 2 of the 3 meetings, and you all were asking thought-provoking questions, right? You guys had some great discussion. Thank you to Harold and Jason for mediating and giving information out. I think you guys were asking the exact right questions about the demographics, information needed to make these recommendations. So again, thank you to all the members of the 7-Eleven committee. I know the little one was in attendance also for all the meetings, and so thank you for that. I think one of the meetings that I did miss was the discussion about the private schools. I know we may have one private school that may be interested in one of the properties, but I know one of the recommendations to avoid, right, is the leasing to the private school. Is that more because it's not really community serving, or how did that come on the recommendation list to avoid?
It was brought up because, number one, it doesn't serve the community, and number 2, feel it would be in the best interest to encourage our local families to attend our local public schools, to be a part in their community and attendance factors.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the 7-Eleven committee and everyone involved. Thank you for your time and your thoughtful work. I appreciate the clarity in the presentation and in the report about your findings and the recognition that both our district's fiscal needs and our community priorities. So thank everyone. I definitely agree that leasing rather than selling keeps our options open in the future while addressing our current budget realities. If we do move forward with this, I have an ask. I understand that the board will need to take action on this and declaring these properties surplus. But the ask is that as the district moves forward, that we can develop some clear criteria on how the future leases uses and delivers meaningful benefits to communities. You've mentioned that multiple times, that we're trying that this is beneficial for our community. So for example, ensuring that the lease assigned are community serving, such as like childhood programs and things that you've mentioned, arts, family education, and that we intentionally measure the benefits for the community to make sure that we're originally served by those sites before. That's my ask.
And I just want to say thank you I did attend one meeting and there was a lot of good discussion going on throughout the time that the meeting was taking place. And I just want to thank you because that helps us in terms of making a final decision in terms of which way to go with these excess properties that we have at this time. But again, thank you, Harold. Thank you, Gilbert, and thank you, Ashley. And thank you for bringing your baby too. Yeah. A future student of ours, correct? But again, thank you very much. And did anybody have anything more you want to ask board members? Oh, yeah, board member Rodriguez, go ahead.
I just had a clarification question, and maybe Jason, you can answer this for me. On page 11, on part 4, the committee findings and recommendations, number 4, it says, as far as the committee recommends that the following uses are avoided. And number 4 says lease to charter schools. Does this mean to new charter schools, but to current charter schools we're okay with?
And I don't want to speak for the
Maybe the
chairman and the
committee
vice chairman that are in the room, but my understanding is that we didn't want to expand the number of charter schools that would be leased to within Franklin-McKinley School District. We did talk about the potential opportunity to, merge a site such as Los Arboles that already has a charter school there with another charter school. That could be a potential opportunity for the district, but not to add any new charter school within Franklin.
So existing are okay. These are just to new ones. And I couldn't agree with that more. And I couldn't agree more with the one on consolidating our charter schools onto one campus. Specifically the one with the initials LA. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
All right, anything else, board members?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Board
All
Member
right.
Cooper.
Thank you for bringing that up. I had that same question when I just read this a couple days ago. So are we saying that this will not allow the existing charter schools to get bigger and to lease more properties if that was choice?
So that has not bearing on this because the charter schools, if they wanted to expand, would have to submit a material revision
Right.
to the board for consideration. So that would have to have been first and not as a result of the facilities being available to them. So
Right. And that's what I was reading in this, is this going to disqualify them from having that ability to do that? That was what my question was.
No, because these are just recommendations. The board would have to take action initially if they requested to expand. So they cannot expand on their own if it's not in their current charter authorization. So they would have to submit a request to the board that they want to expand beyond what they're currently authorized to. And then at that point, the consideration of any facilities would be the question. But currently, they cannot expand without your authorization, without this board's authorization.
Well, I will say we didn't look at as capacity when going through the surplus properties. However, when it came to the specific combining of the charter school campuses, we did not look at enrollment and the capacity at that particular. That wasn't something we covered.
Anything else, board members?
I think what I guess I think we need to sort of clarify, given some of the questions, is the committee's recommendations create a framework in which then the district, with your authorizations, if we get it today, is to then start to look at the potential uses of those properties. So it's not, they were not deciding one over the other. They were giving the board a framework in which to then operate under to look for possible ways of using that surplus property. So kind of look at it from that standpoint. It's not they were not charged with giving you an actual recommendation of exactly what to do with each of those properties.
And that's important because on the agenda today for the board is a resolution only to determine surplus property, not to decide what to do with it. We're not even there yet.
And that's a very good point, Trustee Rodriguez, because part of this is also then after that is then going through and trying to find, and then that would give us a great opportunity at that point to then engage that local community beyond what we've done now to say, okay, these are the different possible tenants and services that would be provided there and engage them locally in that community to get further input.
Anything else? No. Well, once more, thank you very much to three of you. Did an excellent job. It's very much appreciated as we move forward with final decisions on what to do with these properties. Again, thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to item number 5.02. And this deals with the first reading of board policy and administrative regulation updates. Superintendent.
Yeah, so as the state passes new laws and changes or adds education code, then school districts are then required to look at their current board policies and regulations and bring them up to compliance with those new laws and regulations. There was a couple years ago where we brought a whole list of board policies and regulations that after looking at it, the board had actually asked us to come back in a different format that we're now using. And so we're going to be going through all our board policies and all our administrative regulations and making sure that all of them are up to date. We started off with the ones that are more current in regards to the passing of AB 49 and SB 98, since those are obviously fresh in the governor having signed these new laws into law. So we started with those, but just expect that every board meeting moving forward, we will have first readings of updated board policies and that we need to bring to the board for your approval. This is the first reading, so there's no action by the board. We will take any public comment, anything from the board in terms of edits, clarifications, and then at the next board meeting, we'll bring those after that for a second reading and then your approval.
Thank you, Superintendent. And so with that, we go on to item number 6. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any questions, concerns at this time, board members, on item 5.02? Yes, Board Member Rodriguez, go ahead.
Well, no concerns. However, I would like to, well, I guess we don't vote on this, so I would like to edit board policy document 5154.13, response to immigration enforcement. We can't pull it up on the screen. So on the second to last paragraph of that document, it states that the superintendent or designee may provide training to staff regarding immigration issues and so on. I would like to change the word may to shall. So in other words, it will be in line with the rest of the policy where it states the superintendent or designee shall. I would like this one to mirror those and change the word may to shall to state the superintendent or designee shall provide training to staff regarding immigration issues and so on. So if you pull up document 5145.13, response to immigration enforcement, it's the third attachment on the board agenda.
And it's the second to
last paragraph. It says, the current one says the superintendent or designee may, I would like to change the word may to shall to be in line with the rest of the document. We're not voting on it, but I would like to edit that. So I would like to request that we edit that to the word shall.
So can we do that, Superintendent?
Yes, the board can change the board policies to be more, unless it's something that would violate the current law. In this case, May gave the leeway for a school district to provide it and not require it, because the way the state sometimes does this, if they require it, then they may be required to provide funding. So that's why sometimes they leave it as a may and not a shall. The only thing that we would then, by changing it from may to shall, then it obligates the district to ensure that we're providing training. Then the question would be, and how often and to who. So at this point, looking at it, and it does not necessarily restrict us to do it on an annual basis. It just says that we would provide it. And then it would be to all staff in this, how it's read right now.
Anything? Yeah, Board Member Cooper, go ahead.
I'm going to humbly disagree with you, Trustee Rodriguez, that it is not a consistent statement of may versus shall throughout interchanges. So I'm going to stay with language is okay the way it is.
And when does it come back to us, Superintendent, this one here?
The next meeting, we would bring it back
Okay.
for a second reading. And, there's two ways of addressing the change. It could be brought back with both versions, and then the board can decide which version, if this is the only change, or we can bring it and then edit it at that meeting, and then that would be the time the board would approve it. But all board policy and changes have to be first brought as a public first reading, give everybody an opportunity to read, give input before the board changes its policy.
So basically just information. First base.
Today is only information, yes, and
Okay.
get input from community,
Right.
get input from the board.
Okay.
Before you vote on it on the next meeting.
And let me make a point that the word may is nowhere in any of these board policies. All of the entire consistency is shall. So what Trustee Cooper said is inaccurate and wrong.
There's only just.
Go ahead, Board Member Hong.
I want to thank everybody involved in bringing the updated policies together. I think together, the new board policies and regulations really strengthen our district's commitment to equity, privacy, and student safety. And I really appreciate how these updates clarify how enrollment, residency verification, and student records will be handled without regards to immigration and citizen status. Especially important that families know their children's right to an education and privacy is protected by law. I also support the clear protocols and immigration enforcement policies that ensure transparency, documentation, and immediate communication with district leadership. I think this reinforces the trust between our schools and the community. I do have one question in terms of changes to regulations. How will the district ensure that staff at every school site is consistently implementing these protections, especially around enrollment, residency verification, and responding to immigration-related inquiries? This is really important so that families experience a single, safe, and equitable process regarding when they enter our system.
Yes, thank you for that. We have already been following these particular guidelines in regards to enrollment and the privacy. Whenever we have a change like this in any board policy or administrative regulation, depending on who it impacts, then we would provide additional training in regards to what the change in the practice is. And so in this case, we'll be training the principals, any of the staff in the enrollment center, but also specifically our secretaries that are the ones that sort of interface with our community and have access to information more readily. So in any time that happens and we have a change, we look at who actually does this impact, who needs to know, and then we provide additional.
Thank you.
One thing that as part of a SB 98 is then the notification to parents, staff, administrators, that immigration enforcement has been at any of our schools. And so that is actually now memorialized in the safety plans that come to the board on an annual basis. And so there will be a section in the safety plans that you'll see when we bring them forward in February, with that outline in regards to the way that we will communicate with those stakeholders if and when we have immigration enforcement at a campus. So that is part of SB 98 requirement moving forward.
Anything else, board members, on this particular item?
I just want to,
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been looking at all these proposed changes to our policies and regulations. I mean, this is something that's going to protect our families, communities, our school sites, and most importantly, the students. And this is something that we're not just doing this to uphold state law, but this is something that's in the U.S. Constitution, that we have to provide these education for all students, regardless of their movie. And so this is something I'm definitely going to support when it comes to the board.
Anything else, board members? All right, okay. So with that, we move forward to item number 6. These are consent items under $25,000. Members of the board may address, members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with board bylaws 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. So we have items, consent item 6.01. We go all the way to item 6.06. 6.01 through 6.06. Take a look at those, board members, and let me know if there's any you want to pull and make them into action items. And if none, I'll need a motion, a second on item number 6.
I move to approve consent item 6.01 through 6.06.
Second.
So we have a first and a second to go ahead and approve item 6.01 through 6.06. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. Now we will go on to item number 7, consent items over $25,000. Members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with board bylaws 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. So here we have 7.01 through 7.09. Take a look at those, board members, and let me know if there's any you wish to pull and make them action. And if not, I'll need a motion, a second.
Move to approve consent items 7.01 to 7.09.
I second.
All right, so we have a first and a second to approve consent item 7.01 through 7.09. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, that motion passes. Let's go on down to construction items. Number 6, members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with board bylaws 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. So here we have 9.01 or 8.01, 8.02. Take a look at those. Let me know if you want to pull those. If not, I'll need a motion in a second.
Move to approve construction items 8.01 and 8.02.
I second.
All right, so we have a first and a second to approve items 8.01 and 8.02. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. Now we move forward to action item. Go ahead and take a look at the action items. And we go to 9.01. September 23rd, 2025 open session minutes. Take a look at those, board members. And then I need a first and a second on this item.
Move to approve September 23rd open session minutes.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to approve the September 23rd open session minutes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. Now we go to item 9.02, personnel reports, and we turn it over to Vice President Sanchez to give us the personnel report.
All right, thank you. We have a few names today. I move that the personnel report be approved as submitted and that the employment for the following employees be approved. Jocelyn Kalima, paraeducator, special education at Franklin, effective 10/13. Samantha Jasso, paraeducator, special education at Hellier, 10/14. Samantha Miranda Espinoza, paraeducator, special education at Sivendell, effective 10/13. Antonina Portugues, paraeducator of special education at Hellier, effective 10/13. And Amruta Vaida, paraeducator at Franklin, 10/13. And that the FTE increase for the following employee be approved. Finny Dong, paraeducator at Franklin, effective 10/13.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So I need a second on this item, 9.02.
Second.
So a first and a second, item 9.02, our personnel report, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. Let's go on to item 9.03, resolution 2025-50, resolution declaring properties as exempt surplus land. And who wants to say something on that? Jason?
That will be me. Thank you. So as mentioned earlier tonight, this is the resolution declaring the 3 properties as surplus. One of the things that I just wanted to point out, which was also pointed out earlier, is that adoption of this resolution does not commit the board to any particular course of action for the use of the properties. It simply resolves one technical statutory matter where there is a conflict between the Surplus Land Act and the Ed Code. Any future decisions would be returned to the board for further public action.
Thank you, Jason. Anybody have questions regarding this item? If not, I'll need a motion in a second. 9.03.
Move to adopt resolution 2025-50, resolution declaring properties as exempt surplus land.
A second.
Okay, so we have a first and a second item, 9.03, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Oh, and one abstention. 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Item 9.0. Go on to item 9.04. 2025-2026 approval of industrial electronic systems incorporated for fire monitoring service.
We'll talk on this.
Jason, let's go ahead and.
As always, we're always trying to look for ways to provide the same or better level service at a reduced price or at the same level. And this is an opportunity to do just that with a new fire monitoring service through Industrial Electronic Systems, Inc. Tamara's team reviewed the vendor to make sure that they're a reputable company, reviewed the pricing and noticed that the pricing would actually save us almost $6,000 from our current vendor. So we're bringing this forward to the board for approval.
Thank you, Jason. Any questions, comments on this item? If not, I'll need a motion a second on 9.04.
Move to approve action item 9.04.
Second.
We have a first and a second on 9.04. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. Okay, so now we go to item 9.05. This deals with the superintendent's employment contract, and you have it in your board docs. So hopefully you got a chance to take a look at this. And this is the superintendent's employment contract that covers a 3-year period. That's pretty normal of superintendents throughout California. This is pretty much the contracts that are pretty universal throughout the state of California, among all the 10,000 and some districts that we have. And so so today we're here to go ahead and vote on this particular contract. And again, hopefully all of you got a chance to look through it. The superintendent has been here 10 years, one? Okay, 11 years. So he's had 3. This is the 4th one, right? Yes, this will be the 4th one. So I've been here for all of them. Rudy and I have been here for all of them. and most of you, the rest of you haven't. But that's pretty much what it covers. And the language was in there too in terms of the wages that we pay the superintendent, so on. And as one board member who did bring one on board, I'm been very pleased with his performance, throughout the years, and dealing with all the myriad of situations that come up in any district, in our district primarily. And so I've been very happy that we've had one at the front there, helping us with all the, situations, problems, concerns, that come up. And so I've been very happy that we've selected a good person to help us in that regard. And I want to see if anybody else wants to make any comments regarding this. Board Member Rodriguez, go ahead.
Yeah, having been here since we made the decision to bring Superintendent Cruz to the district, I feel very fortunate that we have had him this many years. Although I would love to have him 3 times as many years. So to see if we can keep them a little bit longer. But I tell you, one of the key reasons why our district continues to be recognized as one of the more stable districts is because of our leadership. And that's not just from the board, it's also from our cabinet. And the cabinet is led by the superintendent. And that's why I fully support this, new contract, and I will be voting for it. So thank you, Superintendent Cruz, for all the work you're doing with the district and for the great partnership with the school board.
Thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. Any other comments, board members? Anybody else?
Just dittoing what President Sanchez said and Trustee Rodriguez, thank you, Superintendent Cruz, for all the work that you do, all the committees that you're involved with, the work that you do at our school sites. I think just your interactions with the families, the testament to your support of them. And so thank you again for everything that you do for our one employee that we hire. I mean,
Yeah,
I
right.
will be approving this.
And I just want to mention, of course, superintendent was named the superintendent of the year by AXA, the Association of California School Administrators, Region 1 for Region 8, our area here. So he's been very much involved in that area and other organizations, state leadership positions. Again, thank you for being involved in that, Superintendent. And does anybody else have anything else this time? No? Okay. So we'll need a motion and a second on this item, 9.05.
I move to approve the new contract for the superintendent for a new term of 3 years effective July 1, 2025 and ending on June 30th, 2028 in the way it was attached on the agenda.
I second.
All right, so we have a first and a second, item 9.05. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
And one no. So we have 4 yes and 1 no. Item 9.05. Well, congratulations, Superintendent. You're on for 3 years. You can't go anywhere. All right. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Let's go on to item number 10, communication from the superintendent. So superintendent, communications, please.
Well, just again, continue to be grateful to be here with your support and, always looking at the ways that we serve our families, our students, and support our staff. So again, thank you for the vote of confidence. We had the opportunity to have our students perform at the 35th annual Moon Festival put on and it was over at Andrew Hill. Again, just great to see our kids perform, our families so excited. There's nothing more gratifying than to see the families there being so proud of their students. And then at an event that celebrates children and making sure that tradition continues. And so it was really great to see that. And thank you for all of those that came and supported the students. I also was at the 3rd Annual Education Policy Summit held by SVEF, in which we explore different things from a policy standpoint that are impacting education and the ways that we can advocate for changes that would create change, more lasting change for our communities that are underserved. And then just again, next week, I will participate once again at CTC. And so again, thanks to the board for your support in my ability to serve on CTC. It is a great learning experience as I serve at the state level with decisions that impact us locally in regards to how we credential staff, how we prepare staff, and how do we make sure that those that are in our classrooms are safe for our students. So again, that does not go unnoticed that you allow for my participation in that way as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Superintendent. Now let's go to item number 11, which deals with communications from the Board of Education. I think I'll start with my left, toward my left. Board Member Hong Ha.
Thank you. Over the past few weeks, I had an opportunity to engage with educators, community members, and leaders across our region to continue learning and strengthening our partnerships that benefit our students and families. I first had the opportunity to visit a few schools. I visited Windmill Springs, Kennedy, and CCA. I really appreciated seeing all of the students and educators and staff in those spaces. I had the opportunity to follow up with how the transitions were going in our district since the beginning of the year, and I look forward to continuing to visit our communities and our schools. On September 24th and October 14th today, I had the opportunity to meet with FMEA and CTA leadership, and I continue to I want to continue to build a stronger working relationship so we can figure out what's best for our students, staff, and community. On September 25th, I had the opportunity of meeting with Dr. Trujillo, where we discussed district academics, programming, and vertical alignment. And I really want to focus on ensuring that all of our students leave FMSD with the skills they need to be successful in an Eastside. That they're ready for success when we see them at the high school level. On September 26th, I also attended the 3rd annual policy summit with SVEF. Catalyst for Change, the next chapter in our school funding reform. And it was a really inspiring day where I had the opportunity to learn and have dialogue with fellow educational leaders about the importance of equitable and sustainable funding in our public schools. We need to continue fighting. On September 27th, I had the opportunity to, this is kind of both host, because I work at Andrew Hill, but also see our students from Franklin-McKinley there perform as well. And I loved seeing the community come together for the Moon Festival. And like Superintendent Cruz said, it is a celebration for our children, our family, gratitude, and unity. And I was really proud to see 3 performances from Andrew Hill student groups from different communities. We had FSU, VSA, and Folklorical perform, and then also see our students from Windmill Springs. On September 28th, I attended the Educational Town Hall with Congressman Ro Khanna at Cupertino High School, and they discussed how to strengthen collaboration across all levels of government, local, state, and federal, to better serve our students. And then this past week, Eastside also had our fall break with Franklin-McKinley. And as we return from break, I hope everybody had a chance to rest and recharge for the next 6 weeks, I believe. And then little plug, but next week is Andrew Hill's homecoming game, and I would love to invite you all to come to our homecoming game. I love seeing community members and families in both spaces in FMSD and in Eastside. So come out and cheer on our Falcons. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Hong. Board Member Sanchez.
All right, thank you. On September 27th, attended the Moon Festival as well. It was just great to talk to the families that were in attendance there. It was great to network with the other trustees from other districts there as well. And our students just did an amazing job performing. So kudos to them for being up that late and performing, right? Because I know the program ran a little later than we thought, but they did a really great job up there performing and showcasing one of our great programs of the district, the community. And so that was great to see. So a big thank you to all the collaborators. They did an amazing job just setting everything up and organizing. On September 30th, I went to the Eastside Union High School District College and Career Fair. There was over 2,000 students and their families that attended this event, where there were over 100 booths of colleges, vocational training schools, employers. And so I know a lot of our FMSD families had attended that event too, to get some of those resources. So that was a great event for not only Eastside, but all of the surrounding districts to get resources. And then last week, I came over here a few times to Shirakawa to drop my little nephew off at the fall break camp. And so it was great to see so many students there. I think there's over 400 students that were at Shirakawa last week. And so thank you to Dr. Trujillo for recruiting the teachers for that. Thank you to the teachers for applying to work over your fall break. And my little nephew loved it there. He loved meeting students from other schools that were his grade. One day I actually asked him if he wanted to spend the day with me going golfing. He's like, nah, I want to go back to school and spend it with my friends. And so I felt a little shafted, but I got over it. You know, he wanted to spend time with his other FMSD friends there. So that's just a testament to how fun the learning was and the activities that they did over fall break. So Again, thank you to all that were involved with that. That's my report.
Thank you, Board Member Sanchez. Board Member Rodriguez.
Okay, so I also attended the Children Moon Festival at Andrew Hill High School, and very well done again. Most of the food wasn't on my diet, so I had to avoid eating that. And that was really hard because it looked so good. Then I also attended the McLaughlin Area Tenants Association meeting. They invited me because they did have a concern. And after consulting with the superintendent, the concern was regarding the parking lot in front of Educare and why it was now being gated and not open for residents to park overnight there. So Superintendent Cruz gave me the appropriate response to that in regards to liability. So I did respond to them. And once they heard the explanation, they understood there wasn't a lot of pushback. So they were thankful that we had somebody from the district attending the meeting, and I was very pleased to attend. And they actually invited the entire board to attend future meetings. So if you would like to get information on future meetings, they do have a Facebook page. So just pull up McLaughlin Area Tenants and you'll find their page. Okay. And then the last thing I did was I attended the Eastside Union High School District final hearing on the trustee area implementation. And surprisingly, it wasn't very well attended. So I was a little surprised on that. But for those who were in attendance, did provide input on the trustee area alignment. And then I also understood that the following Friday, it was approved. A map was approved. So I understand that next year there will be elections for a trustee area in the Eastside Union High School District. That's it.
Thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. Board Member Cooper.
All right, thank you. And unfortunately, I was not able to attend the 35th Annual Moon Festival a few days before the event. I was notified that my aunt, who just passed, they were having a memorial service in Reading for her. There's no way I could get up there and back in time. So I really was looking forward to the Moon Festival and seeing our children perform and just seeing all the community out there. So again, my apologies. I look forward to next year. On October 1st, I was blessed to go to Meadows, and Principal Moore led me there. And it's always exciting and encouraging for me to go into the classrooms, talk to the children, see what these teachers are doing, and seeing learning happening firsthand. So that was a pleasure. And then on a couple of days later, I visited Kennedy and saw with Principal Alvarez, and that was awesome. Again, going to another school like Kennedy and seeing education in action, and the mural, seeing how well the grounds are kept, but also, like I said, seeing education actually happen, seeing children excited about learning. So then on October 5th, I believe all of us were invited, but I did attend. It was an evening of remembrance in Palo Alto, and one of the sponsors of the event was the Silicon Valley. I believe they're called the Association or a Jewish Alliance, and that was the 2-year remembrance of the hostages and the slaughter that happened 2 years ago. And then so it's really encouraging and pleasing as the world celebrates the return of all of the hostages here just a little over a week after that evening of remembrance that I attended to. So many community members were there and attended. So it was good to see what President Trump has enacted, and we now have all the hostages back. On October 8th, I was able to meet with KIP leadership, and so I had a really good meeting with them. And then also on October 10th, I was able to meet with rocket ship leadership. So that was also encouraging and informative to find out a lot of information. So those were my travels. I did a lot in the last few weeks, but I look forward to the next 2 weeks.
Thank you, Board Member Cooper. For myself, just a couple of things real quick. Again, the Moon Festival, very, very nice. Kids did a fantastic job. The kids from Painter in Elm Rock did really, really wonderful. The lion dance was exceptional. And then our kids did a whole bunch of stuff too. It was also very, very well done, exceptional. And it was a lot of fun at the Moon Festival. Also went to Rocket Ship. They asked me to be there for I guess an interview, you could say. So they'll be coming to us in terms of a renewal. So they wanted to make sure that all the i's were crossed and t's dotted, as they move forward with their renewal petition to us. And so it was good. It was very well attended. They always have a lot of parents there, of course. And this is the rocket ship that's we have two of them in our district, and this is the one by our middle school, Silverdale. So that was good to get to meet those parents and see what some of their concerns were. Also went to the East Side Union High School District and dealing with the trustee areas, and joined Board Member Rodriguez there. And so a lot of discussion taking place, and finally one map came out, and that was pretty much the map that was voted on. And so we shall see what the future holds now that the East Side will no longer be at large, but will be by district. And so we have a district here in Franklin-McKinley that pretty much incorporates one huge area that will be under one trustee. And so we'll see how that pans out. So and I believe that's going to be next year, if I'm correct. The next year there'll be elections here for that particular position. And anyway, so that's my report for right now. Okay, thank you all for all that information you've given us. And now we will move forward to future business. 12.01 agenda item request. Board members, do you have any agenda item requests you would wish to give to the superintendent at this time? Please ask right now. 12.01, any agenda item requests?
Yes, Board President.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to request that we bring forward a resolution to support a concurrent resolution 71 by Assembly Member Ashkara, which would designate a portion of Highway 101 near San Jose's Little Saigon as Little Saigon Freeway. Since Franklin-McKinley serves many Vietnamese American students and families, I think it would be a meaningful way for us to formally support this recognition of the community's cultural and historical contribution.
Okay. Do we put that down? Yeah, so noted. Thank you very much. Anything else on number 11? Now we'll go to item number 12, future business, 12 points. Oh, I'm sorry, we did future business here. Let's go to 13, future meeting dates. So we are going to go to Larone School on October 28th from 6 to 7. And then back here at 7:30 for our regularly scheduled board meeting. Okay, with that, we go on to number 14, but we're not going to go to closed session. We go to 15, adjournment. So I'll need a motion and a second for adjournment, board members.
Move to adjourn.
I second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. So at this time, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Oh, let's vote on this one here. Sorry, I'm trying to rush things. I'm trying to get to the baseball game. Okay. All right. So
I might abstain now.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. Now we're adjourned. On to the ball game.